got my coffee. I got my blends and a blunt. And, well, I'm ready to take your question. But before we start, how's my audio? Someone give me a thumb up. Okay, good. Audio's good. 13 thumbs up, 9 people in the house. That shouldn't be too difficult to, 25. Okay, it's jumping. Mercury, Trismegistus, AC Grand, Kathleen Ryan, Jay Silver, Bravo, Kim Calhoun, Dave Corsi, Lou Machado. Hidden Harvest Grow Lights has been here for a while. He's on lunch break. A Nancy, Aaron, Laura Ira, Scott Hudson, Indigo Fairy, 1989. Little Freedom and more in the house. Elon Butterfield, Hipsy Gypsy, Fairy Wings, Guy Gossett, Mark the Vicar in the house, Owen Gibson, Sammy Sam, Jerome Schickler, Maria S., Pete Yeager, Morning Dew, Barbara Leet Snyder, The Penniless Dreamer. Well, I hope you find some pennies today. Susie Q, I am Ronson. Buying. Go get some bath bombs. Bath bombs from Ronson. Laura Ira, Jackie D, welcome. Jerome, I already said that. Mary Strubs. Okay, let's get started. Let's get started, folks. Now, I hope you all are ready for the show. I got my coffee. Got my happy bird seed. Beautiful. Beautiful day. Got my Easter basket radishes. I got some mystery beans. This is one of our viewers sent us these. And Alan and I planted these the other day. All right, let's go. Questions now. Boom. Bought my first crypto today. That's a great topic. Huge cryptocurrency market reset overnight. If you were up 4 hours ago, you could have bought in everywhere if you had the money. And you will just be up and away. It is an amazing reset back to the Elon Musk Bitcoin buy-in at 38,000. So Bitcoin went down as low as 38 or lower. And, well, except for Cardano and Polygon, you know, our picks. But a lot of the altcoins and the standard coins, top 100, reset 50% this morning. And now they're back on the way up. So right now, if you're listening to this, turn it off and go buy crypto. You can watch it later when it comes back up. Now is the time to get in. Everyone should be getting in right now. All you have to do is check to see how low the cryptos are currently based on where they were a few months ago. And good luck. Pick the top. I always go with the top 10 market caps. Anything above $1 billion is a good buy. Okay. So now that we're done with all that nonsense, how about some questions? Let me get some questions. Okay. I don't see any questions. Silver is popping already. So is gold. It's almost too late to get in there. It's pretty high. Silver almost hit 29 the other day. So I hope you all got in over the last 3 years when we told you to. So, yes. All right. Fertilizers. What we like for fertilizers are broad spectrum fertilizers that are organic, that have that don't work on the NPK idea. So fertilizers that are organic include like bone meal, fish emulsion, and things like that come from natural sources. I recommend the fish emulsion. If you want to get a good fertilizer, I think Alaska is the brand. Fish emulsion comes for about $10. You get a pint. You just put a capful into a sprayer and you can spray your whole garden with it. Fish emulsion is the #1 fertilizer. If you have fruit trees in the springtime, which a few months ago, Alan and I put about 10 pounds of organic granular fertilizer down, which is like dried fish emulsion and other things. There are many sources to get dried granular types of feeding products and fertilizers for your trees. They have tons of mycorrhiza and other beneficial nutrients in them, like EM1 type stuff. So do your homework, pick what you want. And I also recommend for transplanting Myco Bliss, which is quite expensive. It's a white powder that you put right on the roots, and it prevents shock from all your plants. A lot of you that are new to the growing game realize that when you transplant things, they get wilted or they die or whatever. The Myco Bliss will help you prevent that. I think I put it in the store in the permaculture necessities. Otherwise, just Google it. It's Myco, M-I-C-O, Bliss, B-L-I-S-S. So there's my tip for the day. Bone meal, seed meal, fish emulsion, bone meal, brewer's yeast. Yes, Aaron. Excellent. Natural weed killer. You just take if you want the best natural weed killer, all you need is white vinegar, which is like $1 a gallon, and Epsom salt or just regular salt. And so what you do is you fill an entire container with vinegar, and then half of it is salt. So if I have a gallon container, I put half a gallon of vinegar, and the rest of the space I fill up with salt, and I mix it up, and I spray that directly on the weeds, and nothing will ever grow there ever. So don't spray it where you want something to grow, but completely cheap, natural, safe alternative to all the crap that the big corporations are selling. Yeah, they sell it for $25 a gallon. For just $3 a gallon, you can make an equivalent weed killer that does not harm the environment. Imagine that. Okay. With all the volcanoes going off, what do you think the Atlantic hurricane season will be like this year? I don't think that volcanic aerosols have much to do with the frequency or the magnitude of hurricanes. That has to do with Earth's electrical system, space weather. But what the aerosols may do is that they may increase the amount of precipitation from these events. So expect bigger, like that's the last thing we need, is bigger rain events from the hurricanes. So more flooding, more water, more precipitation. Simple answer. Can you talk about your Ethereum stake? Yeah, I took a huge amount, 90% of my Ethereum holdings about, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and I staked it. I staked it into Ethereum 2.0, which means that entire block of Ethereum that I staked, I can't trade, I can't get at, but I'm earning interest on it. I think it's 6% or higher. And I'm helping build the Ethereum 2 blockchain by staking my Ethereum 1 or Ether. Now, the benefit of staking your Ether to Ether 2 is that when Ethereum 2 launches, you have Ethereum 2 already because all that staked is Ethereum 2. And in the meantime, Ethereum is going to skyrocket because the reason I want to be in Ethereum 2 is because it is much less expensive to make transactions. It uses much less energy than Bitcoin does to mine. And Ethereum 2.0 is not mineable. So there will be no energy used to produce Ethereum 2. It happens in the staking. So instead of mining to get Ethereum or Bitcoin or other coins, which use all this energy, which is why Tesla announced that they're not taking Bitcoin anymore as a payment. Ethereum 2.0 uses no energy because there's no mining. And that is going to be the number one driver of the price of Ethereum to 10K and higher very soon. So get in now. Just buy Ethereum Classic. It doesn't matter. Stake some. It doesn't matter. No matter what you buy now, you will triple, quintuple, 10 times your money in just a few months. It's guaranteed. If you don't get scared and take your money out like everyone does. Everyone's like, oh my God, I'm selling. And then it comes back, market comes back up and they're like, what did I do? Oh my God, I have so much money. I'm such a scaredy fart. How do I protect my solar panels and their components from being fried from a CME? Solar panels probably won't fry from a CME if you disconnect them. The only thing that will fry are small computer components connected to the grid where electricity is surging. So picture an electrical field pushing through the planet, high electricity, anything metal. This instant lighter here, this metal part might be hot, like, this wrench might get hot because it has iron in it. So just stuff with metal might just start to pick up electricity. So if you unhook everything, you'd be fine. but computer components and small electrical wires will fry. That's why you need them in Faraday cages inside of Faraday cages. So I suggest getting a steel container, a shipping container, make that a Faraday cage, very easy to do. And then inside that have more Faraday cages that are boxes of Faraday cages where you have other Faraday cages inside. So triple protection for laptops or electronics or walkie-talkies or anything you want to use in the grid down scenario after it fries. You know, that's that simple. Natural weed killer, we got it. Where are we? Okay. Fish emulsion. Where do we go? Hiding in a cave. How do I protect my solar panels? Did that. All right, here we are. Why doesn't anyone just build out Tesla free energy? Well, here's the problem, Winifred Kofefe. That free energy is not a lot of amperage. So there's no one working on how to take the telluric currents in the ground or the eminent energy floating up in the ether or in the atmosphere and concentrate it and bring it down into some kind of a transducer or transformer to make it high amperage to run things. And that's what those towers were back at the turn of the century to do, but no one's doing that. And they could be. So the work needs to be done, and it's that simple. Why doesn't anyone build it? I think they're trying, and it might not be as easy as we think. Inverters need protecting. Yeah, anything that has electronics in it. Even a digital watch will fry. A cell phone, anything with small electronics, which is almost everything, will fry. Which is why if you have a car from pre-1986 or a truck, doesn't have any of that crap, and you'll probably be able to get it started. So we recommend everyone have a vehicle pre-1986 that runs. The storm on Neptune changing direction is just more evidence that the magnetic fields in our local environment, in our solar system, are getting jiggy. They're shifting, rapidly changing. And so things on other planets in the nearby region, Neptune and Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, we've all seen strange electromagnetic changes, whether it be in the field or the storms or the aurora. And so we're using that as evidence scientifically to prove our point that there is some sort of a galactic wave effect where you're traveling through electropotentials in our solar system on a regular heartbeat type rhythm. And I've seen this in my geologic studies for all the way back into the 80s. Every single quarry I went into to look at rocks from the Cambrian all the way up into the recent times. And I specialize in the Paleozoic, the Devonian, the Silurian, the Ordovician. And it doesn't matter if you're up in the modern era or back 300, 400, 500 million years, the same exact pattern is happening in the rocks where the used to see is apparently shifting in a massive way. And used to see means sea level. So the apparent sea level is going up and down hundreds of feet every 12,000 to 20,000 years, forever, for all of geologic time. And there has been no good explanation for it. Back in my era, we were using the Milankovitch perturbations to explain it because the hierarchy of the cycles, the precession of the equinoxes in one eccentricity, we were seeing patterns of 5 cycles every 100,000 years or so in these packages. And every 100,000 years, we were seeing a massive catastrophe all throughout geologic history. And so thankfully, the last massive geologic catastrophe was 12,900 years ago. And that won't happen again for 81,000 or 88,000 more years. So that's the good news. The bad news is that there's minor catastrophes every 6, 12, 24,000 years. And we are in one now. The big stuff isn't happening now, but these catastrophes are geologically instantaneous. That means within 100 years, it all happens. And it doesn't happen all in that time frame. Big events happen in there. So we're waiting for some of the big events to start happening. I don't even know what the question was. All right, where are we? Yeah, so don't have metal, conductive metal. You can have aluminum, silver, gold, probably. Completely harmless. Anything that's conductive, you want to stay away from. You don't want to touch things that are metal during a massive solar storm when the auroras are in the sky. There could be arcing because remember, we have physical evidence from the Carrington event in 1859 that people were getting lit on fire and electrocuted by touching wires. And those were the telegraph operators. So luckily in 1859, there were very few wires, or else the stories would be fantastical. Can you imagine if 1859 happened now? And that's what we're trying to tell you. It's going to at some point. And what the effects would be with all these friggin' wires, man. Holy macaroni. Okay, so let's go down a little. Am I still on? Okay. Pardon my coughing. Okay, where are we? I'm having a little trouble scrolling here. I'm on satellite. It's like I'm back in the Stone Age already. EMP Shield doesn't work. It's a piece of crap, Charles. We got some scientists to look into it, and it's garbage. It'll barely protect from a large lightning strike. So that means it will not protect from an EMP. What will protect, and it's free, is a shutoff switch, which costs about $3. You don't need any of this fancy bullshit being sold on all these garbage channels that are pushing garbage to make money and not to give you information. I'm here to give you information because I don't give up about the other shit. That's why we don't have sponsors. We don't have push. Well, we do have sponsors, but they don't give us anything. We just love some certain groups and we hook them up for free because we use their shit and we love it. And we want you to too. We want you to have a great life and enjoy yourself. Happy, joyous, and free. Like we do every day. Like my only plan is now I have to go, what do I have to do today? Check the Death Clutch 1 traps and do some gophering. That's what I'm doing today in the beautiful sun. Can you want to see how beautiful it is out there? Oh, that's the wrong camera. Look at that. Look at that sun coming in there. Like swimwear. Holy shit. Can you believe I can move the whole planet like that? Flat Earth. Danger! Diamond is control of the flat Earth. Okay. All right. I'm getting a little parched here. Do we have any more questions? This has probably been 17 minutes, 36 seconds, 240 in the house. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening. Crinoids in Indiana shows a bad day on Earth. Well, excellent point, Dawn, but it's not. And here is some awesome information I'm going to share with a lot of you for the first time. During the entire Paleozoic period, before the Atlantic Ocean even formed, the entire North American continent was covered by a shallow inland sea for the whole time. Very little land was above the ocean. Now, that leads me to believe that the ocean was once thousands of feet higher, and all that water is now missing. Each cosmic blast, each micronova, each solar flare or huge solar event evaporates a certain portion of the water on the planet until there's none left. And all of it's in the subsurface, and the whole surface is scorched. And we call that Mars. So the Earth someday will get there. But 400 million years ago, during the Silurian, I think the oceans were thousands of feet higher. And what I mean by that is where I am right here was under 80 feet of water. So that means the oceans, based on current topography, would be around 7,000 feet higher back in the Silurian. And all that water is missing, blasted into space. And during the next event, we'll blast a tiny little bit more, and there'll be a little less water on our planet. But this process has been going on for hundreds of millions of years, and we're still here. So it's not that scary. We still have, 5 miles of ocean at the Marianas Trench. And so we've only lost 1 mile, a mile and a half of ocean depth in 400 million years. That's pretty fantastic. So crinoids in Indiana isn't rare. And the Indiana limestone is some of the most famous mined quarried rock in the world. The Indiana limestone built our entire country. Almost all of New York City, Philadelphia, and all the major cities, all of the original buildings are built with gigantic blocks of Indiana limestone. And Indiana limestone built our country. And the Masons, well, they built it out of the Indiana limestone. So just a little tidbit. Okay, looking for questions. Cataclysmos, Dodge Power Wagon. What is the awesomest thing in your experience that is going on now? The awesomest thing is Iceland. It's a 800-year cycle that's repeating itself, and maybe waking up some mainstream scientists to the fact that there are cataclysmic cycles that we should really be teaching students about, and we should be delving into the multidisciplinary approach on how to figure out what is going on our planet. We've lost touch with the fact that history is not a mystery. The history we're being taught is, because it's based on lies. But as a geologist, I can go back and look in quarries and see the past. And that's the type of information that tells us what happens in the future, especially when we look at the entire geologic history of our planet, and it's the same repetitive catastrophe after catastrophe, packaged every 20,000 years, 5 major events every 100,000 years, on and on, all the way back, as far as you look. We are stuck in this paradigm, and it will never end. And it is imperative that the human species understand this. And I think that other ancient advanced societies have warned us. It's being hidden by the powers that be for some reason, because you're all slaves. And if you knew, you wouldn't be part of their current model. You'd be doing something else, trust me. If you actually knew what this is all about. Okay, looking for questions. I have my thoughts on the impending galactic sheet of EMF plasma. It's not impending. It's not like a wall that hits you. We're in it. It gets thicker and thinner. So it goes up and down. That's why there's the cycles, the Hale cycle of the sun, 22 years, up and down, for the entire magnetic field to flip. Same thing at a bigger scale is happening at the galactic center. So there's a wave-like feature that has been referred to. There's a lot of people that have named them, the Rossby wave, etc. It's unimportant. What's important that there is a heartbeat. You have one in here. We all have a resonance. Our solar system has a resonance. And our galaxy, our Milky Way galaxy, has a resonance. It's so ancient. And this is the problem. We all think there was a Big Bang and 14 billion years is our time frame. That's untrue. Take 14 billion years and multiply it by infinity. Boom! Your mind is blown. It's unfathomable how ancient this mechanism that we're living in is. It's been here forever and will forever be. And every iteration has happened infinite times. I have infinitely had an infinite number of YouTube channels, as well as I've infinitely been kings, queens, and paupers. I have done everything. And so have you. Infinite times have we been recycled. This is the unfathomable nature of our reality. And you and I all happen to be in this current dimension and time frame at this instant, and we're only experiencing it now. No tomorrows, no yesterdays, just now, and you all decided to be here. How fantastic is that? Okay, I'm frozen up. Trying to scroll down. Give me a second. Can you still hear me good? Apparently you can, because there's 270 people still listening. What do you think? What do you think the volcanoes? When do you think the volcanoes and the Cascades are due. Soon. There has been a slight uptick in microtremor beneath Mount Hood, Mount Rainier, and Mount St. Helens, all in the last 3 years. It's ever slightly increasing. And we're seeing some very bizarre earthquakes today. We had the 6.7 at the Triple Junction in the Southern Pacific. That has translated over to South America today with some blot echoes nearing the deepest earthquakes ever recorded inland. And that could be a huge 8 magnitude happening in South America very soon. So we have interesting things lining up there. And I think Cascadia, let's give it a few years. We have this amazing uptick at Stromboli this morning. Etna is another paroxysm at Etna to 18,000 feet. Just some fantastic stuff going on geologically on Earth that was all predicted by us years ago, and it's all coming true. Now, luckily, there's not a lot of fatalities yet from many events. If there's a major eruption in Indonesia that causes a tsunami, that I think is inevitable. If the Canary Islands go off, that's really bad news. So there's so many probabilities, but the biggest warning would be for an Indonesian volcano to cause a tsunami. And it would kill a lot of people, just not around here. So tinfoilcap.co in the house. We got the products on. That's tinfoilcap.co. All right, so go get it. If you need the Danger Flat Earth shirt, tinfoilcap.co. Or if you need the ORP carbon fiber edition, holy macaroni, 5G. Look at that hair. That's incredible. Wow. Okay, more questions. I'm going to go for 10 more minutes. All right, let's do this. Could I explain cloud nucleation? You spelled it correctly, Tiff. Where did that question go? Cloud nucleation. So cosmic rays come in and they hit other particles and they break apart. Now, when that happens, there's ionization, which means that atoms change their charge. A charge change occurs. And this is how you create clouds and lightning and other things, charge change. So if you change the charge and there's water vapor present, boom, it can create a droplet. And then you get an instant cloud. It's that simple. The clouds you see that are forming in the presence of an electric field where there's a charge change. And the moisture in the atmosphere can condense because of the conditions. Pretty simple. And when you do it right, you get a cloud. When you do it at different altitudes, you get different types of clouds. So if we add extra nucleating forces, which are cloud builders, cosmic rays are cloud builders, you're going to get more clouds because you're going to get more charge change than was there before because of these particles coming in and creating instantaneous ionization at that level. And most of the cosmic ray charge effect happens in the lower atmosphere, like 10,000 to 30,000 feet, where all the clouds and all the weather come from. So that's why it's bad news. Also, hail gets bigger because there's more charge, there's more recycling. The hail can get bigger and bigger and bigger because there's more available moisture. And we just saw another like 8-inch hailstone from 48 hours ago coming out of Texas. It is getting wild over in Texas, the nexus of the schmexus. California will not fall into the ocean. There could be a huge rupture that forms and another like a San Francisco Bay type thing to push more. There could be islands offshore. It won't fall off. That's only in the movies. Speaking engagements in the near future. No. Rex Bear and I are talking about LeakCon 2.0, but we want to do it in person, so stay tuned. We're still in negotiations. When Cascadia goes, Mount Rainier goes, and possibly will affect Yellowstone in some way. No, they're not connected or related. So there's that. Yellowstone has nothing to do with Cascadia, which has nothing to do with the San Andreas Fault. etc. Okay, 2 more questions. I'd like to see more content on practical shielding for cosmic rays. There is no shielding for cosmic rays, so that's why there is no content. Cosmic rays go through everything. They can only hit a particle, split apart, and dissipate, but they typically just go through everything. They're going through you right now. There's no shielding for cosmic rays. None. Alpha Centauri, someone said something. Alpha Centauri just popped. It's been popping. It's been popping for several years. And so that's why, because it's only 4 or 5 light years away, it's heading here in a few years. So our sun is going to start popping, like all the other Barnard star and Alpha Centauri popping. Guess who's next in line? Yes, Yahweh, our son, Jesus. He's going to pop. He's about to pop. Okay. I've just bought Ethereum. Awesome. Yes, shed roof. Any other questions? Good question, Alaskan Grandma. Yeah, we answered that. You and Rex, you guys need a multi-fuel generator. I recommend wood gasifiers, multi-fuel generators, great. Redundant backup systems for electricity, wind, solar, generators, fuel. Set up something on a bicycle, for goodness sakes. Keep that fridge going. Drop some weight. All right, give me some questions. Cicadas are here. I think we reversed direction in the toroidal coil. Any thoughts about global mud floods? Yeah, mud floods occur. The last mud flood was 6,000 years ago, Noah's flood. But let's be honest. The Dark Ages, the Maunder Minimum, these were all mud flood times. If you increase cloud nucleation and have it raining for 3 years, there are going to be huge amounts of mud that build up. So much that you can't remove it fast enough. And they just leave it there. As generations pass on, they just leave it and they build higher. So buildings will be buried. Floods will happen. And they happen cyclically. On the 1,000-year bond cycle, there are bigger floods. I think that might be the mud flood cycle. There's a 1,000-year cosmic ray cycle where we're going into cosmic ray maximum. This will be the time when some areas experience unprecedented rain. And we're not there yet. We're approaching there. Massive flood events we've seen in the last few years, and they're going to get bigger, bigger. The 500-year flood is now the 100-year flood. And soon, the 100-year flood will be the annual flood. And then at some point, the 500-year flood will be the annual flood. And then the people all on the rivers will be washed away. That's how it works. That's why we are 70 feet above the 2-foot deep river, because it's going to come up. And I can see how high it was during 8,000 years ago during the last glacial runoff. It was 60 feet deep. And it was moving boulders that are 30 tons. It was a hell of a river. And it will return to that. Sapphire reactor's awesome. They're doing good science on a tiny budget. Could you imagine if all the billions lost at CERN were given to Sapphire? Holy shit. Tiff got a kayak. Okay, 300 in the house. Any other questions? 4 planets lining up to form a square as in 8079? Well, I would call that the end of the empire. Period. That's what happens. So don't get it twisted, but the oldest science that we are still aware of on Earth is, wait for it, astrology, not astronomy. Astrology was the original science which connected at the same time astronomy and cosmology with all of life, the entire life cycle. It was the original science. And now it's poo-pooed as like some new age garbage. Astrology is the father of all science. And people 40,000 years ago understood how the cosmos affected life cycles, and the entire universe. And today, no one gets it. They're so preoccupied by staring into a frickin' square that they could care less about their origins or their purpose. Today, purpose is Starbucks, my shitty job, paying the bills. I mean, it's not purpose. I did that for a long time. Not purpose, no purpose there. I'm surrounded by purpose. I wish I could take you outside. Limitless possibility and unlimited purpose. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to live this way. Okay, a couple more. There's a talk of 300-mile-per-hour winds. Completely possible. We've had 200-mile-per-hour winds. 179 might be the highest, but as the electrodynamics on the planet changes, anything's possible. The Thunderbolts project, and Andrew Hall describes huge plasma storms that formed lots of the features in the desert Southwest. Now, whether he's correct or not, his supposition and his hypothesis is sound, which means it is possible. And then when you look at the historical implications and mythology, it talks about exactly what we think may be possible. So the great titans and the war in the heavens, the thunderbolt of the gods, these are huge plasma exchanges between heavenly bodies. Literally static electric charges sparking between planets. So anything's possible. Free your mind. Yes, we're all surrounded by sheeple, Angela, I know. So you can surround yourself with non-sheep. All my friends and acquaintances are right on our own page. So when we get together, we can all talk about everything and how crazy everyone else is. And that's just an awesome place to be. Thanks for being here, Greens Greg. Okay. One more question. Stone Age hieroglyphs illustrate giant induction strikes. Potentially, Wally. Yes, we think so. Yes, the Indian headdress is definitely an example of the plasma column looked at an angle. So what happened in the past was, and so depending on where you are on the Earth, let's say this is the Earth, there's going to be a North Pole here, and you're going to be somewhere south of the North Pole looking at it. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you're going to be looking up at the North Pole at an angle. If there's a giant plasma rod that shoots out of the North Pole with fingers on it that looks like this, when you look at it from down below, it will look like an Indian headdress. And I believe that that's what the Native Americans witnessed in the recent past, meaning in the last 12,000 years. And their entire society is based on that amazing vision in the heavens to the north, as well as Squatter Man and many other things that they saw by looking north. That's where if you remember that one podcast, I showed you a hieroglyph that looks like a menorah. That's one of the phases of the Indian headdress. According to the Aztec calendar, the eclipse at the end of the month is when the sixth sun takes control of the fifth sun. Yes, the end of the empire. There is no second sun. There is no stellar core or any of that other garbage nonsense from complete psychopaths on the internet that have tens of thousands of misinformed idiots listening to them. Can high energy plasma be used? Where'd that go? As a lighting system? Yeah, it's called the plasma ball. You get it at Spencer's for $10. I guess you never had a mall. How is the IBC aquaponics going? It's going good. We have been swamped with hundreds of other things trying to finish our house. And we're just not there ready to assemble it yet. And we will. And thank you, Fisk Farm, for sending your the siphon. And we're going to be spotlighting you when we do a podcast on the Bell siphon. I'm an SLI, and I've been able to turn some lights back on with intention. Do you know of anybody who could help me develop this ability? No idea what the hell that means. So different channel. Thanks. I'd love to quit job and just work on the farm. Yeah, well, there are ways to do that. There's a whole website called Wolf USA and wolf.org, the worldwide organization of organic farmers, where you could travel the world, never own anything, live for free, and work on organic farms. And at some point, there will be opportunity where you could stay forever. So people just don't have the cojones to be free. Trust me, you've been taught to be a slave and to do just as your parents did, which was to be a slave, to work for the man and to stay in your horrendous situation where you barely get a vacation, where I live a vacation 24/7. It's crazy. So it's just scary to say, no, I do not comply. The Russian lady, Sarkova, she did, but she reneged just a month ago. She said there is no grand solar minimum. It's going to get warmer forever. So get with the times, Velocidude. Okay. Yeah, it's freezing here. We just went to freezing last night, so we barely have 70 days above freezing here. Any other questions? Any updates on the Cascadia? We already did that. How can we live a vacation lifestyle? What's the steps? I just told you. Sell all your shit and become a wolfer. And you'll figure it out. You got to lose it all to gain it all back in a different way. The most important thing I've ever done is change everything. So I said, today, I'm not going to do anything I've ever done because that's all bullshit. I was lied to. I was brainwashed. And now I'm stuck. Well, I'm going to erase the past and create a new future. Everything brand new. All new friends. All new acquaintances. All new skills. Everything. All new places. Do I want some killer pot seeds? We have plenty of those, but thanks. But feel free to mail us anything you like at any time. David, they say that Sierra Nevada has more melting snow. I have no idea what that means, Thomas. Yes, there's more melting snow. There's still snow in the mountains. It's spring. It melts until the summer. Okay, proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Thanks for joining us. 325 in the house. What about the blood moon? What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. All these names of the moon are something synonymous with what's going on. The last moon, the pink moon, was because of pink phlox that bloom at that time. The blood moon, I bet you something bloody happens. But the blood moon eclipse is nothing. Eclipses were used to scare people in the past, used as a mechanism of control. Thankfully, because we're smarter today in some ways, very few ways, we now know about eclipses, so they don't scare us. But for some people, They're scary. Hope you got something out of the live stream. I've got some things to do. It's been a pleasure answering your questions. I look forward to seeing you all in the future. Check out happybirdseed.com for all your happy bird seed needs and go plant something. Thank you, Top Knot, for the super chat. Check out tinfoilcap.co for orb hats and Leak Project hats and Flat Earth shirts. And that's a boom. We love each and every one of you. Our one-time donors, our Patreons, and the people, the heroes that share this video. Be safe. And that's a boom.